The new poll on the website, is the rhetoric about guns targeting liberal politicians actually affecting Gabrielle Giffords' shooting? I think our audience is going to go with the option that Sarah Palin is not legally responsible, but she was involved in inciting. And the range on the poll is directly responsible all the way down to the Fox News position. You're crazy for even suggesting that right-wing rhetoric was involved here. Our audience, I know, is very bright, and they will come through on this one, I believe. What do you think?
Agreed, definitely.
A small percentage will say legal responsibility, but I don't buy that.
No.
Poll results from last week's poll. Which Obama conspiracy theory is most likely to get off the ground? Obama is a spy for a foreign nation is the most popular one. 1 out of 3 people said that is the next conspiracy theory to get off the ground. In a way, it already kind of exists, right? That he is working for other interests, non-American interests. Number 2, Obama is Jewish. 26% say that is the next Obama conspiracy theory. We've heard, of course, that he is an atheist, Muslim, Native American, Kenyan, English, Indonesian, who is also an anarchist and a socialist and a fascist. So the logical next thing is that he's also Jewish.
Right.
Obama helped plan or knew about 9/11. About 20% people think that. And Obama's father actually wasn't black. Surprisingly, only 14% of people think that will be the next theory. I have to kind of agree with this ranking. Don't you think? It's the most logical to me.
I'd say, yeah. I don't think people are going to start claiming that he's Jewish. The contrast is too stark with the Muslim claims.
Well, but the contrast between Kenyan and Native American is pretty stark, and that hasn't stopped the nuts from going with that.
Good point.
New stations airing the David Pakman Show. Capital Community TV in Salem, Oregon. By the way, Salem is the capital of Oregon. A lot of people assume it's Portland. You'd be wrong. Salem is the capital, and now we're on there. Let's go to audience emails. You can email us through our website, davidpakman.com. We talked about the GOP taking control. We talked about John Boehner and his huge gavel that he was given by Nancy Pelosi. We talked about Boehner crying. We talked about Boehner's skin color and the fact that Republicans are already going back.
But here's one email about something we didn't discuss.
Right, which is big gavel must equal small penis. All right. Well, I don't
could
know.
very well be.
This is the fast car must equal small penis idea.
Some type of shortcoming that John Boehner feels he has to make up for.
Yep, these new Republicans have a lot to live up to and will probably not measure up to par, but here's why I still vote Republican. I'll be disgusted more at Democrats for the agendas they proclaim they want than the agendas the Republicans fail to follow through on. After the 2008 elections, the Democrats acted like kids in a candy store. These new Republicans have yet to prove anything. I'm so sick of Washington. You know what? Republicans didn't act like kids in a candy store, or rather Democrats after 2008. They barely did anything. I know we can point out some things that were done that pushed the ball slightly to the left politically. I don't believe the first 2 years of the Obama presidency were anything to call kids in a candy store. I wish we could be saying that, to be honest. I don't think we can. And also, I'm no fan of Republicans, but did you just say that a speaker who is a Democrat would help us out? Remember Pelosi? Worst speaker in American history. She did tremendous damage, let's face it. Both parties are ridiculous, corrupt, and destroying this country. You're probably right about the last part.
Yeah, I think so.
I can't really disagree there. On the topic of U.S. tax dollars funding pedophilia, this is through bachabazi, the practice of, how would you describe it, Lewis?
Having young boys entertain large groups of men.
And then taking them home for man-on-boy sex.
Mm-hmm.
Using boys as substitutes for females is a common theme in male-dominated homophobic societies like Afghanistan. Such societies prize female virginity and therefore limit the availability of eligible adult female sex partners. Then, people like Paul Cameron and the Family Research Council attribute all men-on-boy rapes to, quote, gay men, even though none of the guys doing this are in the 2% of men who are actually gay. Then they make the bogus conclusion that 30% of sex crimes against children are committed by 2% of the population. Brilliantly put. Brilliantly summing up the gay pedophilia conspiracy that exists. Man-boy relationships have been part of Afghan life for a long time. It's becoming clear. The U.S. is more progressive than ever. We did that story on Thursday as well. One listener says, the word progressive is empty. Don't support a party for wanting, quote, progress. Support a party for the realistic goals they want to progress towards. There's no American party with consistent and therefore realistic goals.
Another person who's fed up with Washington.
I can't say I agree, though. Rand Paul saying he wants to eliminate the Department of Education, not a realistic goal, no political will to do it, completely bogus. On the other hand, the idea of restructuring military policy to reduce the number of bases, deployed troops, and hopefully eventually the number of pointless wars, am I that naive that even that isn't realistic at this point?
Sounds good to me. Perhaps a better healthcare system, too.
Now, that would be naive to think we actually might get a better healthcare system. That one I can't get behind. And lastly, once again, money talks. The poll shows that the politicians who forced through tax cuts for the rich weren't representing the majority, something that used to be part of American politics. They were representing their own personal interests, in other words, the support they get from the filthy rich. That is absolutely right. Could not be more right about that. And as we know, if you actually ask people, would you want to remove those tax cuts to balance the budget, people say yes.
Even a lot of rich ones.
We'll see you on Thursday.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.